Hello everyone, and welcome to the Stars and Scrubs NBA DFS show for Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. My name is Dylan Bird, here once again on Sal's YouTube channel, and we got 4 stars and 3 scrubs to talk about on today's slate. But first, just wanted to talk to you about the sponsor of this show, and that is SuperDraft. SuperDraft is daily fantasy, but in a different form. It's in multiplier format. They're having their biggest content ever tonight for NBA. $100,000 guaranteed prize pool, $20,000 to first place. It's an absolute must play. Usually contests are only around 75% filled, so you have a better chance to win in SuperDraft with all those lineups basically taking, all those empty lineups basically taking a 0. So you have a better chance to win there. And the big contest tonight, biggest contest ever, it may just be around 65% filled. So you're going to get all those lineups that are, basically going to be zeros, all those empty slots. And with a guaranteed prize pool, it means that you have a better chance to win. So be sure to get in that. There's a link to SuperDraft projections below in the description. In addition, if you go onto SuperDraft with the promo code SAL, S-A-L, you get a free money bonus up to $1,000 in a slow drip format as you play, so it'll come in slowly. Be sure to check that out on SuperDraft, promo code SAL, S-A-L. Also, just a reminder here before we get started, you could follow me on Twitter at sports_bird. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel in the link below. That YouTube channel is called SportsBird. It's a new channel that was founded, fall 2020. And yeah, we got our Stars and Scrubs show the next 2 days on that channel. We got an NBA player prop show later on today, so be sure to subscribe to that channel. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, patreon.com/DylanBird. 2 days a week there. I have a NBA player prop podcast Tuesdays and Thursdays. We also have a great Discord there with people just talking about props all day. It's absolutely great, so be sure to check that out as well. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at sports_bird. So be sure to do all that. Be sure to check all that out. Links are in the description below. Now let's get started and talk about the stars and scrubs on this slate. And the first star that we are going to talk about on today's slate is DOMANTAS SABONIS of the Indiana Pacers at $8,600. The power forward / center is going up against the Brooklyn Nets tonight, and you know what stars have been doing against the Brooklyn Nets, and because of that, DOMANTAS SABONIS might be my favorite play on the night. So, like I said, players against the Nets are putting up monster numbers. I mean, we saw what, the DeLon Wright, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee stack did last night. You're basically taking the worst team in the NBA, the worst roster in the NBA, stacking all those guys, and they're going off for a combined 140 points, 140 DraftKings points to win guys money. Now you're talking about an all-star here in DOMANTAS SABONIS. He's going to go off. The Pacers are that lucky team that faces the Nets tonight. The Nets ranked 29th in opponent points per game at 118.4. They also ranked 29th in opponent points in the paint per game at 51.8. And as a result, they ranked 25th in opponent points per game led up to power forward / centers. No Kevin Durant tonight for the Nets as well. Kevin Durant is actually a pretty solid defender, so I think that would help if they had him. Now they don't have him. He will not be around to, potentially guard Sabonis. Now, like I said, DOMANTAS SABONIS, all-star, high usage rate at 26.6%. That ranks in the 93rd percentile amongst all bigs according to cleaningtheglass.com. He comes in averaging 21 points per game, 11.7 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists per game, and 46.6 DraftKings points per game. He's about to have a big night for Indiana as a result of this easy matchup against the Brooklyn Nets, and as a result, my number one star play, my favorite play in general on the DFS slate on the night, DOMANTAS SABONIS at $8,600 against the Brooklyn Nets. The second star play on the slate tonight that we're going to talk about is combo guard Fred VanVleet at $8,600 against the Washington Wizards. So Fred VanVleet has been on an absolute tear lately. He's had 3 unreal performances in his last 4 games. He had 32, 9, and 3 against Memphis, going for 54.75 DraftKings points, 25, 10, and 6 against Atlanta, going for 53.5 DraftKings point. Didn't play great against Brooklyn, but then a few games ago had 54 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds for 77.75 DraftKings points. That was against the Orlando Magic. He's having a great season coming off that big contract that he signed in free agency, averaging 20.7 points per game, 6.4 assists per game, and 4.3 rebounds a game to go with 41.7 DraftKings points per game. His usage rate is at 25.5% this season, which ranks in the 80th percentile of all combo guards. Assist percentage up at 27.3%, which ranks in the 85th percentile amongst all combo guards. Those stats are according to cleaningtheglass.com. Now, yes, the price on Fred VanVleet is high tonight at $8,600, but I think that, in this very, very easy matchup against the Washington Wizards, a team that we talk about a lot as a team that cannot defend to save their lives, I think that it's worth the price. It's worth the price to pay up for Fred VanVleet here. The Wizards rank 30th in opponent points per game at 120.1. They rank 30th in opponent DraftKings points to combo guards, 22nd in opponent three-pointers made at 13.4. Yes, the price may be a little bit high for Fred, but I think it is worth paying up here. Hopefully it comes with a little bit of an ownership discount. And yeah, another play against the Wizards that would be great is Pascal Siakam. Decided not to talk about him as a star. I would probably prefer Fred VanVleet just based on his recent play, but if you decide to pay for Pascal Siakam at $300 less, I don't mind that either, but going with Fred VanVleet as my second star on this slate tonight. And for the third star that we are going to talk about on this slate, we are looking at rookie point guard LaMelo Ball, $8,500 against the Memphis Grizzlies. So, last 5 games, you've had Devontae Graham banged up, you've had Terry Rozier banged up, and LaMelo Ball has finally gotten his chance to start and play extended minutes. He started these last 5 games, 2 of which Rozier missed, and 2 of which Devontae Graham missed. In these 5 games, he cleared 50-plus fantasy points twice, and then the other times was in the high 30s twice, and then had, about 30 one other time. Graham will be out once again on Wednesday night, which will lead to extended touches, extended minutes for LaMelo Ball. Now, Memphis is not the easiest of matchups. They do play pretty good defense, but let's keep in mind that two of these best games that he had, the ones where he put up 50-plus fantasy points, were against Houston and were against Utah, both of which who are great defensive teams right now. Ball had a 32.6% usage rate in his last game, which is the second highest of his career. So, you're basically going on the up and up for LaMelo Ball right now. I think his rookie year is going to very quickly turn into a Ja Morant type rookie season where he goes off, where he already could possibly become a top 50, top 60 player in the NBA by the time his rookie season is over. I think he's going to continue his great play, and I like LaMelo Ball at $8,500 tonight as my third star on the slate. Now, I understand that it is a high price. His price keeps going up, but I think that it is worth it to pay this price for LaMelo Ball. Again, hopefully it comes with an ownership discount, but I'm willing to pay up on the upside here with LaMelo Ball. He's a guy that's going to put up near triple-double numbers when he goes off. The fact that he's like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", he's going to get those rebounds. He's also a great passer, probably, one of the best passers in the league already. He was one of the best passers that I've ever seen in terms of a prospect. Comes in this year, he's going to put up a ton of points, he's going to put up a ton of rebounds and assists, and for that reason, there's huge upside, and that's the reason I am willing to pay up for LaMelo Ball at $8,500 tonight. The fourth star that we are looking at today is shooting guard of the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker, at $8,100. Now, this is completely contingent on whether or not Chris Paul plays tonight. Chris Paul missed last game with a hamstring injury and is questionable for tonight's game against the Bucks. Given the fact that CP3 is aging, it's a hamstring injury. I would not be surprised if he's held out just one more game once again tonight, but who knows? If he is out, Devin Booker is a must-play for me on this slate. If CP3 plays, then I'll likely go away from Booker. But that being said, let's get into why I like Booker with CP3 out. So, Booker last game, 41.9% usage rate, which was his season high. He had 36 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds, good for 54.75 DraftKings points. Yes, his salary was down at $7,400. They've adjusted it up at $8,100, but for a guy who's getting 40+% usage rate, that $8,100 is not that much to pay for a guy like Devin Booker. We remember what Devin Booker did last season with Chris Paul not on the roster. I mean, he pretty much reverts back into that role with Chris Paul, not there, with Chris Paul injured. Yes, it is a tough matchup against Milwaukee, but again, with a guy getting 40% usage, I don't think this is going to matter if Chris Paul is out. As a result, keep an eye on Devin Booker tonight. Keep an eye on the injury report. If CP3 is out, then Devin Booker is a must-play at $8,100. Now moving into our scrub plays of the night. The first one we're going to talk about, we're going to stick to this Phoenix Suns-Milwaukee Bucks game. We're going to stick to the Phoenix Suns and talk about shooting guard small forward E'Twaun Moore at $4,300. So I wanted to, stick to this and talk about this as my first scrub play just because E'Twaun Moore is in the same situation as Devin Booker. If Chris Paul is out, Etuan Moore will be a scrub play. If Chris Paul plays, Etuan Moore will obviously not be one of my scrub plays. But with Chris Paul out last game, Etuan Moore played 40 minutes, scoring 17 points and had 4 assists and a rebound, good for 29.25 fantasy points. I'll pretty much always take a chance on playing a guy who's playing 40 minutes at $4,300 salary. So again, if Chris Paul's out, I think Etuan Moore is just the guy you have to play. There's not a lot of other details to get into here because Etuan Moore's minutes have been very spotty this season. He hasn't played a ton. And I mean, the reason is because Chris Paul has been there. With Chris Paul out, Etuan Moore takes a big step up, gets a ton of minutes. So just keep an eye on Etuan Moore tonight as my scrub play if Chris Paul is out tonight. That being said, let's move on to our second scrub play and talk about Doug McDermott, the small forward, power forward from the Indiana Pacers at $4,800. We're back to talking about the Brooklyn Nets here. I don't know how much consideration I would give to McDermott if he wasn't playing Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is just playing so poorly against every single player that I think McDermott is a guy playing big minutes right now. You have to give him consideration. McDermott has gotten 32, 33, and 29 minutes off the bench in his last 3 games, and in his last game against Utah, he had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, going for 30 DraftKings points. Before that, 14, 6, and 2 against New Orleans, going for 26.5 DraftKings points. Game before that, 13, 7, and 1 against Milwaukee, going for 22.75 DraftKings points. So he's getting a ton of minutes off the bench. He's been pretty consistent in terms of production. And against the Nets, my thought is maybe he actually scores like 20 actual points, and therefore goes for 35 or so fantasy points. I think that there's that type of potential against the type of defense that the Brooklyn Nets play. The over-under in this game is 234.5, so expect a ton of points to be scored in this game. As I mentioned before, Nets 29th in opponent points per game, Nets 29th in opponent points in the paint per game. Doug McDermott could be someone that goes off for the Pacers, could be a role player that goes off for the Indiana Pacers, and that is why I like him as a nice value play at $4,800 on tonight's slate. Now let's move into our third and final scrub and talk about Bryn Forbes, shooting guard of the Milwaukee Bucks, at $3,800. So with Drew Holiday out last game, Bryn Forbes got the start, played 26 minutes against the Nuggets, scoring 15 points and grabbing 5 rebounds for 23.75 DraftKings points. He's only averaging 16.9 minutes per game this season, so the fact that he played 26 is a pretty big increase from that normal number. Holiday's out once again tonight due to COVID protocols, so expect Forbes to start again, get those minutes again. Now, interesting stat here. Bryn Forbes is averaging 19.3 points per game per 36 minutes. He's also shooting 47.9% from 3 this season, so he's been a really efficient scorer in limited minutes. Drew Holiday out once again tonight. Bryn Forbes will likely get the start, and I think that this price is way too low, or I should say it's great value for a guy like Bryn Forbes, who's going to play big minutes and who has been a very efficient scorer this season, and that is why I like Bryn Forbes as my third scrub play on the slate tonight, and that is the final guy that we're going to talk about tonight. That is a wrap for the show. Be sure to check out SuperDraft, promo code SAL, S-A-L. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @sports_bird. I'll potentially be tweeting replacements for Booker as a star, potentially a replacement for Etuan Moore if Chris Paul does end up playing tonight, so be sure to be following me there. Also, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, SportsBird. Link in the description below. We'll have an NBA player prop show there later today. We will have NBA stars and scrubs tomorrow and Friday on there, and I will be back once again next week on Sal's channel for stars and scrubs on Monday and Wednesday, so see everyone then. Goodbye, everyone, and good luck with your DFS lineups.